Hey everybody. I wanted to pop in and talk to you all about a quick topic that has been on my mind for about the last year, and that is the topic of mental hoarding. If you've never lived with a hoarder, you don't know what you're missing. Um, I say that sarcastically, of course. Uh, there's a lot to be learned from it. I can say that now because I've done it. Um, but one of the things that I learned from it all was people do the same thing with their minds. People clutter up their minds and don't go through things and don't throw things away that are no longer useful, no longer serving them, no longer serve any purpose, really. If you're a hoarder and you're hanging on to 30-year-old receipts, unless it's an invoice for a car that you bought that you still own, it's probably not useful anymore. And we all have some kind of baggage like that we can get rid of. Sometimes it's old belief systems, stories we tell ourselves, ideologies that we just haven't sorted through in years and years and years. And it's nice when you're kind of maybe younger and you're moving from an apartment to a different apartment, and you have that opportunity to kind of go through and pre-move purge and evaluate whether or not this is worth moving. But once you get a little bit more established in your life, and maybe you've bought a house and you have an attic and a garage, a basement, nice convenient places to store things and pack them away and not look at them for years and years, it becomes a problem of, if you're not moving, then you're not maybe going through regularly and purging those things. And I think it's really important for us to take the time, on a regular basis, be it by, yearly, by monthly, quarterly, whatever it may be, whatever works best for people. Go back and reevaluate. Does this thing serve me? Is it still useful? Do I still enjoy it? Am I still using it? If you broke your leg, 10 years ago and you still have the crutches, maybe that's something you can get rid of. For me, a good example was, all my life I've told myself this story that I'm stupid. And for those of you who don't know me very well, it's not something I've spoken about publicly yet, but I probably should. Um, I was homeschooled, and when my mom was around, I was a good student. But after she left, and my dad took over, my grades dropped off, and I got distracted, didn't really want to do stuff, and nobody was really enforcing it, so I just kind of, did my own thing. So I only have a 6th grade education. Took the GED, took the ACT, went to college and everything, but it's this repeating story that I tell myself. You're dumb. Other people are book smart. You're not book smart. You must be dumb. You're stupid. You don't have a big vocabulary. You think very simplistically. You're dumb. And I had to sit there and reevaluate that recently, and just in the last year, that people started telling me that I wasn't dumb. I'm like, but I am. No, you're not. And it really created some inner conflict because, like with a hoarder, they get very emotionally attached to their items that they have. And in a similar way, I was very attached to this idea that I was stupid. And when people would tell me that I wasn't, I'm like, but I've always believed that. I've always believed I'm stupid. You're telling me I'm not. And that kind of almost offends me, which is in and of itself kind of stupid. But I had to at some point look at it and say, it doesn't serve me to think that I'm stupid, because the only thing that serves is to keep me from living my best life, to keep me repressed, feeling held down, all the stuff that I don't want, truly. And so I had to let that go. And just letting that one thing go has opened so many doors of opportunity. Just believing I'm not stupid. And I think the same thing goes for any type of removal of mental clutter. The more open spaces you can have, the more easily it is to access the things that you need, the more stress-free your life becomes. For anybody who has never lived in a hoard with somebody else's hoard, not my own, it's very depressing. And there are barriers and walls that are put up around that because there are judgments around it. So they tend to hide and keep their blinds closed and not invite people over and not get maintenance done on their house and things like that because they're embarrassed. Well, they're not so much embarrassed, but they don't want to be judged for it because they understand that other people don't see it the same way they do. So there are these barriers and boundaries that are put up to protect what they think is valuable, because they think that the things that they own are more valuable than themselves, more valuable than getting routine maintenance done on their house and things like that. And it's kind of the same thing mentally. When you have people that are very mentally cluttered and not going through and regularly purging old ideas and belief systems, they tend to be very defensive about that and protect it and feel very attacked if people question it or people try to suggest that maybe they don't need as much as they have, or they should reorganize or let some things go. And it's a very delicate thing, but I think it's also a very important thing. People attach way too much identity to the beliefs that they have and the stories that they tell themselves. And it is not the end of the world to lose any of those or to question or to challenge them. It's healthy. It's healthy to go back and challenge your beliefs. It's healthy to go back and challenge the stories that you tell yourself. Because if they can't hold up to scrutiny, they don't have any reason to continue to exist in your life. If you can't justify the reason that they're there, and you can't justify why you want to keep them, then it's probably time to get rid of them. Or at least to take a very close look at them. If I had kept telling myself for the rest of my life that I'm stupid, I never would have gone anywhere. I never would have told my story. I never would have gotten the unexpected healing that came with telling my story. This has already been one heck of a journey. And who knows where it'll go. But you can only have good things that come from doing the difficult things. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not easy. It's how you know it's worth it. So, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you for listening to me ramble. And tell yourself good stories. Stories that are true. Stories that build you up. And go through the mental clutter and figure out what doesn't serve you anymore and get rid of it. It'll make your life simpler, and with simplicity comes ease and peace of mind. Guess that's it. Have a good night.